Hey, and thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. Um, I, as you can see, it's just me at the moment, but due to some technical difficulties Jan was having, um, plus that she's kind of tied up, so she wasn't able to physically be here alongside. But what she did do is she sent me a little clip that I'm going to go ahead and play, and then I'll be back. So let's go ahead and bring her in.
Hey, Steve. Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me on today, Steve. I hope you don't mind, guys. I had to send this audio clip in today. I've been having a little bit of technical problems with my camera. So today's message, I just want to include a few make life a little bit easier hacks. Number one, years ago, when I worked for a medical office, I used to run the schedule pretty much for the office. And one thing I could absolutely, in my experience, I tell you the truth, it is best to make medical office appointments earlier in the day. This is my opinion. If you're a morning person, especially, and usually the people working there are at their optimal best. So if you could, whenever you schedule your medical office appointments, in my opinion, do them in the morning if you can. And if you're a morning person, that's even better. So just saying, instead of sitting around being anxious about your appointments all day. And not only just medical office appointments, anything. If there's anything like it's like kind of like not your favorite thing to do, get those things done earlier in the day, for real and for true. Next, stop using the excuse about I'm not saying you guys do this, but I'm going to elaborate more on this on a program on my channel next week. Don't make such a fuss about spending money outside for coffee and saying it saves time. Tell me where on planet Earth, in my opinion, does getting up, getting dressed, going to, let's say, your local coffee place and getting outside coffee and then whatever, how is that a time saver, in my opinion, when all I could do if I want to just heat up hot water, make my instant coffee in a matter of 2 minutes? I don't think it's about, in my opinion, I don't think it's about saving time. I think people just want to feel a little bit perhaps pampered, and they feel that getting that outside coffee, it's just a psychological. Listen, if you could afford it, be my guest, do it. But don't complain, gee, I can't pay off my credit card or my essential bills. People that having struggles paying off their essential bills shouldn't even be thinking. It shouldn't even be on their radar screen, thinking about outside coffee day in, day out. Oh, I'll put it on my credit card. Why? So then a person could fall into the rabbit hole of credit card debt. Believe you me, not good. Next, make your bed early. Make your bed like as soon as you can, early in the morning. Get that out of the way. Because nothing's worse than like you just ignore it. It just makes the whole room look upset. Ever notice how much better your whole room looks when you make your bed? For real, if it's true, and it's really such a simple act. Just the more you do it, the more it becomes like habit. And honestly, you just feel like everything's going to be a little bit better. Don't wake up to dirty dishes in the sink. No, 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 no. Instead of that, tackle the dishes as soon as they're done the night before. And if you really, really can't stand the dishes, invest a few cents in some paper plates and disposable cups, if that's the route you're going to go. It is still by far cheaper to do that than to eat out all the time, all the time, all the time. Next, look over your bills, look over your habits, because sometimes look over your credit card statement, for example, or your debit card statement. Look it over, and you will. Some people don't even realize that they might have stopped off at the fast food place 20 times last month. Add that up. Not only is it not the healthiest route to go, in my opinion, but it really can be costly. Some people confuse fast food with cheap food. That is so very not true. There is a huge difference. Just because food is fast does not necessarily mean it is healthy. But if you want to go the quick and easy route, again, making your life easier on the cheaper end of it, buy some convenience foods and put that in the freezer. Or better still, take a day and make up some of your own home cooked batch cooking. Now, the other day, I had forgotten that I had an extra one of my meatloaf and mashed potatoes, frozen meals made by myself, just laying in the freezer. I was like, ooh, "Oh, nice surprise." So I took that down, and tonight I'm going to have it. Or you could just simply pop it into a baking tray and heat it up right away. You got your comfort food without the mess and without the extra tip and the cost. There you go. All right, Steve, want to thank you so much for having me on the show. Have a great day.
Okay. All right. Well, Jan, thank you for sending over the clip. It really helps. Now, I have to bring up one thing in the course of the video. The word opinion kept coming up. I must elaborate and say no, no. 90% of what was said by you, Jan, is not an opinion. It is a fact. It's factual. Opinion, yeah, well, excuse the sarcasm, but it's true. Everybody has one. It's like a vacuum cleaner. Everybody has one. So, but I think you guys get the idea. Opinion is not really a word that's very high on my list. No, nothing wrong with saying it. I don't commonly use it. I would rather use that is just my thoughts. That just seems a little bit more realistic. But I guess it's different strokes for different folks. Now, what I want to ask you guys is based on everything that was mentioned about the early appointments, the fast food, the coffee, the tips that she had given. What do you think? What do you guys think? Let me know. I'm kind of curious. Is that a yay or a nay? But but I do appreciate Jan definitely being able to send me that clip. That way there was a show to go on. You know, but there is one other thing in addition to this that I want to go ahead and share with all of you. Um, if you revert back to the Sunday video that I was on with Jan, I talked about military discounts and I talked about, other ways to save money, other discounts. But one thing that I didn't mention that I want to share is that a lot of people are seniors out there. And you guys are entitled to a lot of savings as well. What I don't like is when you go into a restaurant, and I'll tell you where, and I'm not guilty of this, but my being with my father, he was actually a victim of it. And I say victim for a reason. He would go in and order the person behind the counter. Let's say he was ordering a cup of coffee. They could tell that he was a senior. You think they would go ahead and speak up and say, Mr. Young, or whoever you are, or sir, we can offer you a senior coffee for such and such price. No, they didn't do that. So I had to be the one to speak up. Kind of sad. Now I got a little ways out before I hit senior, but um, I had to be the one. I said, "Don't you guys have a senior discount?" Yeah, we do. I said, "Can't you tell that my father's a senior?" Because he after that it would only happen one time, but then after that, if it was the same person, because we would, this one particular place we would go to for breakfast that was really good, um, they knew of my dad and they went ahead and gave him the discount. In addition to that, they would also go ahead and give him a senior discount on his meal as well. But the only thing about a senior discount, like when you order meals and things like that, not unless you go to some place like a buffet or something like a Golden Corral or something along those lines, where you can go in like from like 1 to 3 in the afternoon where I'm at. They have an early bird specialist, like 8 and some change. You're a senior, you can go in and get the drink of your choice. You get the buffet, and you can, You get the discounted price, but you make out because you can go back up and get as many plates as you like. But if you go to certain places and order where it's a one-time deal, they don't always bring you the same exact portion size as they would a regular person like myself. Me, when I go in, I would have to pay, whatever stated. That would be a larger portion a lot of the time than what they will give a senior. I don't think that's fair. Why? They should be entitled to the same amount. If they're not able to finish their meal, why aren't they allowed to get a to-go box and put whatever's left in the to-go box and take it home with them? That way they could have it for another day or have it as another meal if there's plenty left over. And some places, depending on where you go, have been known to give decent enough side portions that you can eat off of it a couple of times, which in actuality does save you money because it'd be the price that you paid cut in half. And I'm a big, 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 big firm believer in repurposing. I really am. If I can find a way to eat off of one thing 2 to 3 times, great. If I can find a way to take a meal or something that I created and then take that and make it into something else, I'm happy. That's great. If I'm able to go and make something from that, even better. That's not always the case, but if that ever if that opportunity ever knocked, yes, that's the way to go. And especially with the way times are right now, with the cost, inflation, grocery prices and things like that, definitely consider taking advantage of repurposing. Anybody who has a slow cooker, that's a good way to go about it. Create a meal, put something in there you could probably eat off of it 3 or 4 days. In fact, I shared it earlier on. I had done a recipe with cream of mushroom, no, cream of celery, cream of chicken, a Lipton beefy onion soup mix, and the first one I did was with cube steaks. Turned out pretty good. The second one I did, I decided to use like a prime rib burger, and I sauteed that up a little bit in the skillet with the onions, caramelized it a little bit, put it in the slow cooker, put it all together, and it turned out great. The second one turned out better than the first, I thought. What I plan on doing next go around, not that I don't like cream of celery, has nothing to do with that, but I'm going to try the cream of chicken, cream of mushroom, the beefy onion Lipton powder across the top. But I'm going to go a different step this time. I'm going to try preparing that meal with stew meat and see how it turns out. But I'm also tossed up between that and, say, chicken breast. Chicken breast would also be a good one. Now, if you're looking for a way, if you're worried about your fat content, I'll tell you right now the way to go is the chicken breast route because white meat has less fat in it than the dark meat of a chicken. It's always been that way. I do like red meat. I'm not a hogger of red meat. I'm not a hardcore eater of it, but I do like red meat. But you have to watch the fat content. It's fairly high a lot of the time, like 20 plus. So you got to keep a lookout on that. So, bottom line, everybody, I'm glad that you guys were able to tune in with me. And I want to thank Jan for including her video clip and her tips. And again, definitely feel free, you know, what is your feedback on some of the things that she said? I and we would love to hear your feedback. Anyway, um, I hope all of you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.